This podcast is sponsored by
Odds Monkey, where every bet's a winner. Join thousands of football fans across the UK and earn an average of £700 month after month. Visit www.oddsmonkey.com and use offer code HENRI to have a go yourself for just £1.
Hello and welcome to a Gooner Ramble. I'm your host James, and joining me this evening we've got regular Warren. Warren, how you doing, mate?
I'm very, very good, mate. Thank you. How are yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Glad to finally get it all sorted. and joining us as well, we've got the Gooner Ramble's own Louis Farou. It's James Cook. How you doing, mate?
Lovely introduction there, JJ. Yeah, I'm very well, mate. Looking forward to podding with you boys tonight.
Good. Well, guys, 5-0 yesterday in the FA Cup. You think it's all well and good winning 5-0, and then those people down the road win 6, and it just winds you up a bit. But hey-oh, going into yesterday's game, before it started, Warren and James, I believe you both were there?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, we're both there, mate.
Yeah, the protests before the game. Some people saying there's about 10, some people are saying 100, some are saying 200, 300. Did either of you, see or get involved with what happened there yesterday before the match?
I know I saw you were there. You were there supporting Mark. And fair play to Mark. He did organise a really good protest. Well, whether you can say a really good protest or not is kind of mysterious. But no, it was a good turnout. There were about 600 people there at most. But it did sort of split off in contingencies as it went off. So when everyone went across the bridge, you sort of saw a bit of a big split. And then when everyone got outside the director's box, I'd say it maybe reduced to about 300, 400, but that's kind of just estimating. But no, it was a good demonstration. It was a good message. There were obviously some chants that I didn't really agree with, like Arsene Wenger, you're killing our club. I can't say I agree with that too much, but I can totally respect people's opinions. I was there filming the protest to help Mark with a little bit of promo for it. But yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know what you made of it, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I was there midweek too, and look, I never ever envisaged myself wanting to get to the stage where I felt the need to actually protest against the club I love and against the manager that's brought so much to me in my life. But unfortunately, mate, I feel that it's got to that stage, and as I say, I was there midweek, and numbers were, I'd say, probably similar, to be honest with you. But at times I felt uncomfortable, and as you said, there's a lot of chants I didn't join in with and I didn't agree with. But on the whole, I think it's pointless me being upset with the situation of our club at the moment, and then given the opportunity to actually do something about it, not get involved. And yeah, definitely I was there to support and back up Mark, because I know how strongly he feels about it. And I'm not going to lie, it didn't sit right at a lot of times. I didn't feel like I wanted to be there, but I had to be there, and I had to, as a fan, try and put the point across that we do want change, and we aren't accepting mediocrity at our football club. And unfortunately, I genuinely do believe that unless we get out there and show it, Arsene Wenger will sign a new deal and the club will serenely drift into another couple of years of mediocrity. And with the stadium changes of all these other clubs and things around us, I think they'll push on. So I personally don't want to see it go like that. And like I said, I'm not comfortable with the protesting situation, but I've done it, and I'm happy I've done it, and it's just something I felt like I had to do. But hopefully our club takes notice, and the most part, it was very respectful, and as respectful as it can be. But there is obviously going to be sour sides to it, as there always is, because there's individuals and everyone's different. But yeah, it's not something that I'm proud of, or we should be proud of, but it's something I feel that as a fan base we're being pushed towards.
I mean, some people were saying, they could look out of that director's box or whatever yesterday and sort of think to themselves, well, to be honest, there's not many people there, they're not a big enough majority of people compared to 60,000 in the ground. All right, you take away, was it 9,000 Lincoln fans? So there's there's 51,000. Well, I saw a lot of empty seats, but still, you got potentially 51,000 Arsenal fans, and if only 500 and 600 are there, is there really much to worry about? But people go, oh, you can tell by the way they're shot, and people can edit things to make it sound loud and everything. To me, it looked like there was enough people there, and there was enough noise there for them to actually hear something.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, was. You can go on if you want, mate.
That's right, mate. You crack on with this one.
Oh, no worries, mate. Yeah, I mean, I thought, as I say, there were a lot more people outside the Highbury East stands when I got there. Definitely, I thought from about the demonstration, we kind of went off at about 4:30, and people were there when I went to meet Mark at about 3. So there were people like lining up really early, and there were a wide variation of fans. Young fans, older fans, good amount of people, nice people, perfectly nice people. Obviously, as I said, there's some chants I disagreed with, but I don't think obviously there's going to be ways, as you say, of editing it to make it look like there were more people than there actually were. But from my perspective, there were so many people around that director's box, and there was enough people to really make someone at the club take note of what was going on. I mean, it's hard to ignore that. I don't know if you saw it was, but when there was a moment where a bloke in the director's box actually held up a time for change, kind of placard, and it just got absolutely taken out. And everyone in that 200 to 300 people that continuously just went absolutely mental. I mean, that was probably the highlight for me of it.
Probably celebrated like a goal, wouldn't it?
Oh,
No, all jokes aside, I mean, there's more apparently coming. I mean, I've read today something about a plane. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if that's just a joke or if that's genuinely
I think that would be taking it a bit too far, a plane over the Hawthorns. I don't think that's a good idea in the slightest.
I didn't know if it was a joke or if this is genuinely happening.
Well, no, I think from what I heard yesterday, I think it's something that's generally being planned. I don't know if it's going to go ahead, but it seems like it's a very realistic possibility.
Oh, my days. Okay. Right, well, let's move into football matters. Obviously, it was the same lineup that played against Bayern Munich, apart from Sheck coming in for Ospina with a groin injury, and Gibbs coming in for Nacho. What did you boys make of that when it was announced and everything?
I was pleased with the strength of the team. I was very, very pleased. I wouldn't see any reason to play a weaker team, and I was a bit disappointed Ozil didn't play, but I could see he started with a 4-3-3, and at the end of the day, you can't take Lincoln lightly, and you can't take anyone lightly, especially at that stage of the quarterfinals of the FA Cup and the chance to get to Wembley. And realistically, when I looked at the team, I was extremely happy. And you just you sort of, obviously the football ain't played on paper though, is it? And then you have to see these players come out and perform. And for the most part of the first half, it was a bit of a struggle. But with regards to the lineup, I was very happy.
Mm-hmm. And James, yourself?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it, I was really pleased. The one gripe for me was that Lucas Perez didn't get a start, especially in this game against Lincoln City National League team. I think it was a perfectly good opportunity to start Lucas Perez, especially considering we were playing at home, and he scored in the previous round against Sutton United a very good goal. Whether he meant it or not is a different matter. It's a very good finish from Lucas Perez, and for me, he's earned a start in this game because he's not been playing enough football, and maybe I do start to buy into these rumours that he isn't happy at the club, seeing as he's just, it's Joel Campbell version 2, really, which is sad to say because he's obviously a very talented player. He's not young either. He's 28 years old. I think he'll be 29 this year. And he's evidently got quality. He's got pace. He's got strength, got a very good finish on him. That's been evidenced many a time this season. So for me, instead of Olivier Giroud up top, I'd have liked to have seen a little bit more fluidity. And I'd have started with Alexis leading the line, Walcott and Perez on the flanks. But apart from that, it was good to see, as was said, the 4-3-3, Xhaka, Ramsey continuing. I think they're starting to build I hope they'll build a bit more of an understanding between each other in the midfield. Oxlade-Chamberlain unfortunately went off, and we got to see Ozil come on, which I don't think hindered our play particularly, but sincerely hope Chamberlain's not too injured. But I thought Mustafi and Koscielny played well together. Bellerin actually had a good game. He hasn't had a particularly good performance in a while, so it's good to see him play well. And Gibbs, I think he had an okay game. I don't think he did anything to stand out from the crowd. But all round, strong team lineup, and I'm happy that Arsenal got that 5-0 win under their belt.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, James. I was thinking the same. Like, non-league, I was thinking they face big, strong people like Giroud every day. So I thought maybe go with the pace, try and get the ball in behind and do it that way. But in the end, we were okay. But I mean, that first half was. What was the atmosphere like for 44 minutes? Because the only thing of note that we really did was that goal at the end, and then beforehand, Sheck had to make that massive save from their winger when I think Gibbs just lapsed a bit and he just got through and smashed one.
Yeah, I mean he made Koscielny look like a mug. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it was very, very sort of. We've seen that performance 100 times before, and just this time it was against a non-league outfit, and it's incredible, really, mate. That I was very impressed with Lincoln and how hard they worked, but we did really make it easy for them. And in the 4-3-3, I just felt like we lacked any sort of control, and even against a side from the National League, I felt like we were struggling to really win possession and retain possession and start. To me, it didn't look like we had really a game plan. It was just sort of an Arsene Wenger pick 11 players and go out there and perform. But I mean, when I watched a bit of the Spurs game earlier, and they targeted, it was long diagonals to the fullbacks, to the wings, getting in behind, and I think that's how you have to play against these lesser sides. Stretch the pitch and really, and with Walcott and Alexis wide, we really didn't do it enough, and we kept coming narrow, and we weren't stretching the game, weren't making it difficult for Lincoln. The tempo of the speed of our passing weren't great, and I actually think that as soon as Mesut come on, that did start to change, and we did create a few chances. Walcott had that decent strike, the keeper palmed it onto the post, didn't he, the volley from outside the box, and we looked like we were a bit more in control and in possession, and Mesut just floats serenely around the pitch into spaces, and he's incredible, and he works so hard and picks up so many good areas, but it was frustrating to say the least, and at the end of the day we wore them down. I was quite surprised with the way Lincoln approached the game. I think they did go out all bollocks, do you know what I mean? They just went out for it and tried to take the lead, where maybe if they'd slowed themselves down a bit, I think they could have stayed in the game a bit longer. And to be fair to them, if Czech didn't make that save and it did go in, it could have been one hell of a tough second half. But yeah, we ground them down, and we, in the end, thankfully, before the half-time whistle went, because I'm pretty sure that would have been a very strange reception when they left the pitch. But yeah, I mean, it was frustrating again, mate. And let's be honest, I don't want to disrespect Lincoln City, but I expected better from the Arsenal.
Cookie, yourself?
I mean, that regarding the question about the atmosphere, it was really quite slumber throughout. It was really poor, if I'm being honest. I didn't sit where I normally sit. I normally sit in the lower clock end, which normally is pretty decent in terms of atmosphere. But this time I was sat in block 129, right at the top, and there was actually a Lincoln fan sat a couple of rows behind me who got thrown out by a steward, which was probably the most entertaining part of the first half. But the atmosphere was really, really poor throughout. No one standing up for the goals for any of them. I was the only one standing up in my section, which was pretty sad to see. But the ground wasn't particularly full for a fixture that I believe was sold out. I mean, I even struggled to get a ticket for it, hence why I was sat in the upper tier. But yeah, poor atmosphere from my perspective. Wasn't particularly excited for the whole game. The best fans in the place were definitely Lincoln. Credit to their fans. They were impeccable throughout the whole match, even when they were 5-0 down, still singing their hearts out. So massive credit to them. But once we got that goal, it just felt really routine in that second half. Cracking finish from Walcott. But yeah, Lincoln's game plan, I think I'm in agreement with, was if they'd have slowed it down a little bit more, then they could have definitely taken this to a replay potentially, because they did look well regimented. They did look like they could frustrate us at times. In fact, they proved that they could frustrate us, because our chances were very few and far between. In fact, I'd argue that Lincoln maybe had the better first chance in that first half. That I can't quite remember the guy's name, but fantastic little bit of footwork to get in, absolutely dunk Koscielny, and then if it wasn't for a great save from Petr Cech, then it could quite have easily been 1-0 to them. So yeah, credit to Lincoln, but even more credit to Arsenal for getting the job done on the day.
Yeah, I think yeah, it could only go to extra time and penalties now, though, can't it? In this round, I don't think they do replays anymore. So.
Oh yeah, my mistake.
Yeah. I can't think they said that yet. When I was watching it on the telly yesterday, I can't actually remember. But it probably is. But no, Theo he scored that goal. He looked quite lively all day. He's 17 for the season now, mate. He's only 4 behind his record tally. Yeah. What did you make of his performance overall yesterday?
I'm a Theo fan, but I did think
that's why I asked.
Yeah, I mean, for me, in the first 40 minutes, to me, he looked like the only player really interested, which was strange. But Theo is an interesting footballer. He's always very elusive. He very rarely gets involved in the game until he needs to get involved in the game. And he's the kind of player that, like we saw in the earlier round against Southampton. I mean, he had about 8 touches of the ball, didn't he? He scored a hat-trick in the game. And that's what Theo Walcott does. He's a numbers man. He will get you goals. He will get you assists, and he will contribute to the scoreline. And it's sometimes not always about having ball playing footballers. It's about having the killers as well, and you've got to get that perfect mix. And when you've got someone like Alexis Sanchez on the other wing who loves to dribble with the ball, loves to run inside, it's nice to have Walcott giving that other option of making the killer run or just getting that killer finish. And like we saw for the goal, very, very switched on, lovely little layback from Gibbs, and it was a nice place finish. Took a little nip, but Theo keeps going, and he had that volley, like I said just before, he hit a cracking strike, and the keeper saved it. But Walcott will always be the man who will cause the damage, like we saw midweek against Bayern Munich. He can do that, and he will do that. And 17 goals from the right wing is a great return, whatever anyone says about him. You cannot argue with that.
James, what about yourself on Theo?
I thought Theo had a cracking game, to be fair, and I thought he had a really good game when he played against Bayern Munich. Obviously, he scored that impeccable goal, but beyond that as well, I mean, obviously it was hard in that second half when the team wasn't playing particularly well and we shipped 5 goals. But no, yesterday, I mean, he played as he meant to go on from that game against Bayern. He played with purpose. He made some very intelligent runs. He was actually trying to get past people, which is very rare for Theo Walcott. He doesn't normally try to get beyond the man, but he did that, and he did it very well at times. He does look very hungry for goals, and he does look like he's playing in this team to prove a point. I really do think that, you know, after all this talk of him trying to reach his potential, I think he's kind of been the player I don't know if he's ever fulfilled what we all wanted him to be 10 years ago when he joined at the age of 16, but I think he's turned into a very good footballer. He proved that when he got an amazing amount of goals back in 2012-13, and if he's going to break that record this season at the age of 27, I believe he's coming up to 28 now, but still, I mean, it's a good age for a footballer. I do think he's coming into his prime now. Maybe he'll be a bit of a late bloomer in the mould of Ian Wright, considering he has had so many injuries. But it's been a very good season for Theo Walcott. I've been really impressed with him whenever he's played. And he just seems to be that player that was looking so promising before he got that ACL, I believe it was, a couple of years ago.
But obviously that was a big hand going into half time, and then we come out second half, and I put on my Twitter, right, this is it now. Can we turn it up a bit and get a performance? And it's exactly what we did. I mean, they were having water breaks nearly all day. They, like you said, I don't think we stretched the pitch enough first half, but then second half, Giroud gets his goal quite early on, and you think, right, that's it now. This is like action stations, really, isn't it?
It was. It did become a very easy second half. Like I said, they tired very, very quickly, and once that second goal went in so early in the second half, you knew it was game over, and it was really then just a matter of how many could we get. And Ozil was picking up positions all over the park, and for the Giroud goal, a lovely bit of football again, using the fullbacks. Great little reverse pass. Hector Bellerin gets in, cuts it back. Giroud's waiting there on a 6-yard box. That's football that I like to see. It's beautiful. It's simplistic. It's intelligent. And it stretches teams and it breaks them down, and that is the areas to get at these teams, because once you start hitting the byline and you start cutting it back, you're going to cause problems, and we saw it continue to cause them problems for the rest of the game. But I just wish it was something we'd do a bit more often, just play a bit more simplistic instead of trying to play all these intricate 1-2s, and just say to them, look, just stay wide, get the ball wide, get it round, get it into your 6'4" centre forward, and let these non-league centre backs bounce off him. But it didn't really happen, but thankfully we turned it into a bit of a stroll second half, and it was nice and easy. But if you watch the first half, you never thought it would end up like that. But luckily, as I say, they tired a lot, and credit to Lincoln, because they did still keep plugging on, but we were just too good for them in the end.
Mm-hmm. And James, what did you make of the Giroud goal, mate?
No, really good piece of play. Really, really intricate. It's something that we've been lacking in recent weeks. We haven't seen that sort of Wenger ball type of stuff for a while, apart from in phases in that game against Bayern Munich. But really good to see that. We absolutely carved them open. Really good work from practically all of our attackers. Everyone involved had something good to do. Really good work from Alexis and Bellerin. Bellerin with a really simple ball into Olivier Giroud, and a tidy finish from the Frenchman.
Yeah, nice easy goal. And then a few more goes on, and we play some good stuff down the left-hand side. Gibbs sort of scuffles a little shot in, and it goes in off Waterfall. And we're 3-0 up.
Again, it's an easy way of playing the game. Same scenario, just the other side. Get to the byline, fullback gets in behind, and there you go. The overload, crossed it in. Unfortunate for the fella, but Gibbs done really well, and I thought he had quite a good game going forward. And we know Gibbs always will give us that going forward, but there was it was never really in doubt after that, and it was just a matter of how many we could get. And like I said, I covered 8, 9 and 10-0, so I was hoping more and more would go in, but it never happened in the end. But at one stage, I must admit, I was thinking that they're on the ropes here, and it just ended up being a sort of 10-minute spell where we eased off a bit, and they dug in and they calmed the storm. And yeah, but the third goal was another lovely bit of football, and keeping it simple, getting in behind. And it's difficult with games like this because there's really very little to analyse and very little to talk about, because Arsenal were expected to win. Lincoln come and give their all as they would. I mean, but at the end of the day, there's such a golfing class that Arsenal really did exert their qualities in the second half, and we made it a stroll.
I mean, you talked about Gibbs going forward. I've got no problems in him going forward, but what did you make of his performance defensively? Because I don't know, I felt I've always been 50-50 on the boy, and I just feel maybe I don't know. I honestly hope we sign a left back in the summer, like an absolutely decent one, because I think even Monreal's a bit suspect now.
Yeah, I do hear you there, mate, and there's I can see why there has been question marks over Gibbo, but we've got to remember that for the vast majority of this season, and most seasons to be fair, that left side has been horrifically exposed, and you're almost, our reliance on our fullbacks to sort of do two jobs sometimes is very alarming, and you can see he likes to give the left winger the freedom to come inside and do what he wants, really, have his own. And nine times out of 10, you see Mesut Ozil picking up the ball in wide areas because he drifts out into the space vacated. And if we do lose the ball, then Mesut Ozil isn't going to be sprinting back. Your left winger is nowhere to be seen, and Gibbs is sort of stick or twist all the time, 2-on-1, and it's difficult. It's not easy being a fullback, and especially if you ain't got the real support. So, but I do wholeheartedly agree with you. Someone like Alexandro or someone like that Rodriguez, someone who's a bit more athletic, a bit more physical, and can get up and down the pitch. I mean, Gibbs ain't no slouch, and like we said, his forward gear is very good, but often when he is left exposed, and it's difficult for most, but yeah, it's hard. I find it hard to judge these individual players when you can see that the shape of the team and the support that they get from the rest of the players is often a lot less than other people in other positions, if you understand what I'm saying. Like Bellerin this season. Last season, he struggled quite a bit. He got left exposed and was playing inverted wingers. We had Joel Campbell on the right, and he was constantly asked to be the outlet on the right-hand side. But this season, when he's had Theo in front of him, I mean, Bellerin's own performance hasn't been great, but he hasn't been exposed, and he hasn't. We very rarely concede silly goals down that side of the pitch. We're normally targeted on the other side, and teams know that without the protection on the left, that's where they can get at us. But yeah, I like Gibbo, and he's been a Gooner for a long, long time now, and we all love him for that. But I definitely wouldn't be averse to signing a new left back in the summer. And if Gibbs wants to stay as a squad player, I'd be very, very happy. But is he good enough for first choice? Well, the jury's still out, isn't it?
Yeah. And James, yourself?
I'm a massive Kieran Gibbs fan. Maybe because, as Was says, he's a Gooner. We've known him for so long. He's come through the ranks. I love the guy, and I think when he broke through really in 2011-12 following Gael Clichy's departure to Man City, I actually thought he looked really good for that season. But maybe that's just because we had our other backup option was Andre Santos, and that really didn't give Gibbs any sturdy competition. But for me, he's a very good player, but I struggle to see him being a first choice regular, based on his previous injuries, based on the fact that maybe he's a bit susceptible defensively. With Monreal, as you rightly say, I think he has regressed a bit this season. I think when he came through in 14-15, that was when he was playing some very good football. His goal at United away, that was probably his best season for me. And then maybe started to fall away towards the back end of last season, and definitely has shown that maybe he's worse for wear this season. So Gibbs has an opportunity if we don't sign a left back, but I would, as Was rightly says as well, if we were able to keep him as a squad player, that would be fantastic. But again, he is a player that he can definitely, if he's able to remain injury free, can get into a lot of Premier League sides, a lot of mid-table teams, I'd say. But I think he could definitely be playing week in, week out if he wanted to, similarly to someone like Oxlade-Chamberlain. These players may not be getting the time they want at Arsenal, but at any other club, I think they'll be playing a lot of football. So if he wanted to leave, I definitely understand. But if he wanted to remain as a squad player, play in these kind of games, play your Premier League game, your Champions League game, I'd be more than happy with that.
Yeah. Just before we go on the Sanchez goal, I thought you talked about it earlier. I'll switch it over to the other side with Hector Bellerin. I agree with what you said earlier, boys. I think this was his best game in a long time. All right, Lincoln aren't the biggest and baddest opposition you're going to face, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And I thought he did really well. I thought his chance, if he tucked that in, that would have been. I don't care if it's Lincoln City, that'd have been a bloody brilliant goal.
Yeah, he's a good lad, Hector, and you can see he's still learning and still improving with every game and every season that goes by. And we're very, very lucky to have him at our football club. And you always see, I mean, when he first joined, he was a right winger, and you can see that he still has that attacking tendency, and he's very good on the ball. He's got great feet. He can shoot. He can score goals. He can in the final third. He links so well with Theo Walcott, and I like to see partnerships between my winger and my fullback, and I think that's something we've lacked for a long, long time. And Theo and Bellerin could be, for my money, I'd have them starting every game as much as possible, because they have created a great partnership with each other and they know where they're going to be. And Bellerin underlaps, he overlaps, he gets inside, he gets round the back, and he's a constant threat. And the good thing about him is if he does get caught, he's like Roadrunner. He just goes mib, and then he's back in position. And that's kind of where a lot of the time we'll get away with it with him playing fullback, because he is rapid and he is very, very, very good, and he's still got his faults in his game. And we're so used to consistency from him that when he does have an off game, you're sort of shocked, which is incredible for a player of his age. And I love Hector Bellerin, and we all do, and let's hope we keep him, because there's going to be a lot of big clubs sniffing about him, not just this year, for every year for the next God knows how many years, because he's a top quality, and there's a real possibility that in the next 3 years he could be one of the best defenders in the world, if not the best right back in the world. So yeah, we all know what we've got in Hector Bellerin, so let's try and look after him, not burn him out too quick, and keep him happy and keep him an Arsenal player.
Mm-hmm. And James?
Yeah, no, Bellerin has been, ever since his injury, he's been a little bit hit or miss. But I thought, similarly to the conversation we had about Walcott previously, I thought he was excellent in that game against Bayern Munich for the period in which we were actually playing well for that opening half. But he played well again yesterday. He played some very good football going forward. He looked very menacing defensively. Didn't have a great deal to do, but every time he needed to be back in position, he certainly was. So yeah, not too much to say about Bellerin from my perspective, but it's good to see him playing good football, and I hope he takes that into the rest of our season.
And touching on that Sanchez goal again, you know exactly what you're gonna get from this man. He nutmegs the person who said he was going to batter him, and he just tucks it in lovely. It's happy days. I mean, 35 goals he's been involved in now. That's 24 goals, 11 assists. And he's top of the Prem, I think, in the Premier League of goals in all competitions and everything, isn't he?
Incredible returns, mate, and he's a numbers man as well. That goal was absolutely sensational. The way he took the ball, and mate, he's tried to chop him down, and he's just skipped past him like he don't even exist. And you can see the bloke's face afterwards. He's just sort of thinking, "Fucking hell, I thought I had him then." And that's what Alexis does. 1 minute he's there, next minute he's gone. But look, there's a lot of question marks over his future, and his attitude in recent weeks for me has been a bit off, and frustrations are high at the club at the moment. But we all know what you're going to get from Alexis Sanchez, and when he gets the opportunity to shoot like that, and he had that free kick that pinged the bar, and I actually didn't think he had his best game, and I think the defender actually dealt with him fairly well. I think only a few times did Alexis beat him, and a lot of occasions he got one-on-one with a guy, and the guy stood him up, and he shepherded him out and done well. But look, Alexis Sanchez is a world-class footballer, and we want to do all we can to keep him at our football club, and the same goes for Mesut, and the same goes for a lot of players. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But we all love Alexis, and he gets as frustrated as we do. We all do. We're fans, and he acts like a player who is a fan, and I think that's why he gets a lot of love. But yeah, a class goal from a class player, and if he continues to contribute like this, we could be seeing incredible numbers for a single season, couldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, when you saw that goal go in, I spoke to a few of my friends last night. We were in the pub after the game, later on in the night, and they were all saying to me, "Oh, it was such a class goal." Some of them not even Arsenal fans, just fans of other teams. And I went, "Yeah, it was really good," but when that went in, I was just like, "I'm gonna fucking miss this next year." I'm so resound to him going. I can't see him staying.
Yeah,
I think if we can, then bloody hell, I'll be chuffed a bit. But I'm just like, we're going to miss this next year. We really
That's
are.
it, JJ. I mean, the thing is, mate, if he is decided that he's leaving and the club know that and he is going and we get some money for him, I'll be devastated. But as long as we replace him, there's certainly players out there on the market that are like Alexis Sanchez that we can. For me, it sounds really stupid to say that, but I do believe that Alexis Sanchez can be replaced. It's not like there's quite a few players of his ilk, if you know what I mean. You've got people like Royce, you've got people like Dybala. There's a lot of players out there that you could look at from big clubs and could come in and contribute big numbers. But we don't want. I'm not saying I want to lose Alexis. That would just be absolutely ridiculous. But what I'm saying is, you can buy someone, and that is what the club have got to do. That if he does decide his time's up at Arsenal and he's not happy anymore, and he does want to go, then we won't hold him here against his will. But let's replace him and let's go out and spend the money required to do it. But fingers crossed, everything sorts itself out, and he does stay for another 2 years at least, and that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and James, yourself, mate.
Just touching on the goal, I think it was so reminiscent of the one he got against Borussia Dortmund a couple of seasons ago. Just the finish was pretty much exactly the same. Beautiful, beautiful goal from Alexis Sanchez. And yeah, I mean, I almost shed a little tear when you said, "God, I'm going to miss that this next season," because I really will. I really will. If he does go, then I love everything about Alexis Sanchez. But what I don't like at the minute is his attitudes, and whether these reports are to be believed or not. I don't know, but I certainly don't buy into the idea that any player is bigger than the club. We've had issues like that in the past with the likes of Nasri, Van Persie, Fabregas to an extent. So I really don't want that to continue. I don't want it to be something that it would really show our regression if he is kind of implying that mentality. But I've said before, if he's professional in the way he wants to go about leaving the club and he doesn't kick up a fuss in the way that previous players have, then fair enough, let him go, because he is a player that is worthy of winning titles with top teams. And he is worthy, in my opinion, of winning a Champions League, so, or at least competing in it, getting further in the competition than the last 16. So, yeah, if he wants to leave in the summer, if he doesn't feel that he can go any further with Arsenal, then maybe the best thing to do to keep all parties happy would be to cash in for 40-odd million if we can get that for him, then reinvest that in someone quality. I'd really like Dybala. If we do lose Alexis Sanchez, if that's a realistic possibility, which I don't know if it really is, that's just really my pipe dream. But yeah, it's a difficult one with Sanchez. I love the guy, but sadly, I do think he could very well be off this summer. But from my perspective, what I would like to do with him is, if Arsene Wenger is to leave the club this summer, which we know is very, it's something that's hard to predict at the moment, but if he does leave, then I would give, because he's still got a good few months on his contract, give him till January next season with the new guy, with Tuchel, with Allegri, with Sam Paoli, maybe even Eddie Howe. See how he likes playing under Eddie Howe, and then we can reassess the situation there if we are challenging for the title and we're doing better than we have done this season. So that's what I'd do, but I think that's just me living in my own little fantasy world. Yeah,
no, I totally agree. But I'm just, like I said, I'm resound to losing him now. So I just, it's Arsenal season, but for me, it's also the Alexis Sanchez farewell tour. So just get on with it now, I guess. Aaron Ramsey scored the fifth one. Well, he just walked it in, really. He didn't really score it. I'll go to you, mate. Mixed game, I thought, for him. I thought he did quite well second half, but he missed a few, and you get all the Ramsey haters coming on the old websites, don't you?
Yeah, they're an unstoppable force. These Aaron Ramsey haters. I've been batting them away for years, mate. But they're look, the thing is with Aaron, he's always a player that's going to polarise opinion, and I'm a massive Ramsey fan. I actually think he's played well the last few games. I thought he played very well in that first half against Bayern Munich, and I like the Xhaka Ramsey, the combination, and especially when I notice a lot that Ramsey and Ozil like playing together. They always see each other's runs, they appreciate each other's movement, and it's a nice little thing. When Ox unfortunately went off injured and Mesut come on, I just felt that Ramsey was a lot more comfortable and Xhaka was a lot more comfortable, and the balls were through the lines, were available a bit more. I'm not saying Ox has played bad or anything, I'm just saying that Mesut seems to be able to pick them positions up, and once there's the link there, Ramsey can be that man that travels between the boxes. And he spurned a few chances, he missed hit a few shots, and his confidence weren't there, but he kept going on, and that's what Ramsey's done for his entire career. He's had setbacks, and he's come back and proved himself. And even over a game, if he's not playing very well, he keeps plugging away, he keeps making him runs, he keeps getting in positions. He's never scared of the ball. He never shies away. He never shies out of a tackle. He's always available, and that's what I like from him as a footballer, because no matter what people say about him, he does not stop going. And actually, I loved his finish because he walked around the keeper, literally walked around the keeper, and then Tommy toe punted it right in the top corner from about half a yard, which was lovely to see a player put real fire in his finish. he could have fell over.
He was screaming for him to shoot for months, so it's nice.
Yeah,
to
I know.
Even
shoot.
Yeah.
So I thought he was gonna lay it off back to someone else, but yeah, I was happy for him, mate. He's happy. He's just a number at the end of the day to get that goal. But it was a lovely run from deep again. Lovely ball from Alexis to spot him, and the defender had no idea he was there, and the poor keeper got bamboozled, and then he finished it off. But
he was the only one who really sort of celebrated his goal as well, weren't he? Like,
yeah.
He had a big grin on, and you could tell. I mean, I've always said he's a form player anyway, and I think regardless of the opposition and regardless of how easy the goal was, if that can kick him back in and we get like the 2013 type player again, then I'm all for it.
Mate, he's a very, very I think he's a very likeable character. I don't know if you saw it, if they showed it on the telly. There was a moment in the game where Mesut Ozil, do you remember when he tried that uber power header and sort of headed it over? He'd done some stupid, like Sanchez crossed it in and he'd come running in and tried to head it, and he sort of headed it miles over, and he put so much effort into trying to direct the ball with power that his neck went all funny. It was like go gadget neck, and Ramsey was crying with laughter. And there was a moment where Ozil and Ramsey were just having a right chuckle over like Mesut's pathetic attempt at heading the ball, and it was just quite funny to see. And the camaraderie and the friendship and that looks strong there. But that's what we want to see more of: players enjoying their football and bring back the feel good factor, because it's really lately. I mean, when you look at the players' reactions and that on the pitch, it doesn't seem that they've been playing their football with a smile on their face, and it's easy to be smiling when you're 5-0 up, but I just want to see Arsenal happy again, and I think we all want to be happy again. But yeah, Ramsey will always polarise opinion, and every mistake he makes is jumped upon. It always will be, because he's Aaron Ramsey, and a lot of people don't like him, and a lot of people do love him. And I just think that he's the perfect link player between the deep line playmaker and the beautiful attacking playmaker of Mesut. And if you can get Ramsey in between the two, up and down, box to box, helping Xhaka, and then running on beyond Mesut, he's perfect for that job. And use him correctly in the correct balance in the correct midfield, then you've got a great player on your hands. But as soon as you start asking him to do stupid things alongside people like Flamini and that, you lose him as a footballer. And we need to be careful and make sure we manage him properly. And I do think the talent with him, the sky's the limit, and he's proven previous seasons, even before his injury, the bad injury, that he was one hell of a player. And there's a lot there, so hopefully we can get him fit and keep him fit and get a partnership with Xhaka and Ramsey, and we'll continue to see him improve and contribute.
Yeah. And James, yourself?
I think for me, I'm a big fan of Aaron Ramsey, but I feel like if he didn't make so many stupid mistakes in the course of a game, then people would actually talk really highly of him, a lot more highly than they do now. It's just he'll play really well for about 15 minutes, and then he'll have a really good opportunity to score, and it'll go somewhere stupid. And he's done that quite a few times in recent weeks. And I'm a big fan of Aaron Ramsey, and as was said, I think he's that perfect player between the likes of Granit Xhaka and Mesut Ozil. And I was a bit disheartened really when Francis Coquelin came on and he had to go back to playing against Coquelin, because I don't think it brings out the best in him. I want to see Aaron Ramsey have a defined position in this team with a midfield that he knows is going to work to his strengths. And in his defence, he's played with a midfield that has been so chopped and changed before. He's played alongside Coquelin, he's played alongside Arteta, he's played alongside Flamini, and now he's only recently starting to play alongside Granit Xhaka. And before Xhaka got that suspension and Ramsey got that injury, those two are actually playing some very good football together, and they actually look like a very promising midfield pivot. And I'm hoping that in that game against Bayern Munich, what we saw there was the start of that pivot starts at midfield with Oxlade-Chamberlain ahead of them in the free. That understanding and connection start to rebuild. So very promising couple of years ahead for Aaron Ramsey if he can form an understanding with Granit Xhaka. They're both similar in age, they're both similar in physique. They seem to have a good understanding between them. And for me, I just want to see Aaron Ramsey do well, because the way he played for Wales in the Euros, I mean, he played with such passion. He played with his heart on his sleeve, and I want to see that at Arsenal. I want to see him do well. I want to see him back amongst the goals. And as was said, for that second half, he did seem really happy with his goal, and the whole team just really seemed to be enjoying their football. And I know it's been difficult in recent weeks, and yeah, we should be putting teams like Lincoln to the sword, but just to have a game that we can enjoy to raise our spirits in what is a period that's been very, very bleak for us. So yeah, not just Aaron Ramsey, but the team as a collective. Good to see spirits up, and hopefully we can take this positive feeling into that game at the Hawthorns.
Yeah, and you talk about Granit Xhaka as well there. He got his booking again as per usual. I didn't think it was a booking personally from what I saw, but I think it's the name speaks for itself now. I think he just gets booked. I think he just gets booked because it's him.
Mate, from where I sat, I didn't think it was a booking. I thought the ref was pony. I thought he was absolutely atrocious.
He was awful.
I mean, it might have come across differently to other people, but I thought he was dreadful from the first minute.
Probably he had it in for Wenger because he shoved him, weren't it? It was that one, I think.
I just from the first minute, he seemed to. It was almost like, oh look, I can make a name for myself here. Little non-league Lincoln away at Arsenal. Oh yeah, I could really make a decision that will make a difference here. And that's to me. I felt I got that impression from the referee from very early. He was giving free kicks that weren't free kicks. He whipped his card out twice early doors for us for things that weren't even bookings. It was outrageous, and there was a fair few Lincoln hefty challenges going in that you expect, but he just seemed to let it go, and it was almost as if, yeah, that's all right, they're allowed to do that. They're a non-league team against world-class players. So I did think the ref was pony, and I love Granit Xhaka, and you don't want to take that side of his game out of it. I mean, why would you? We've been crying out for a geezer for years to stand up in the middle of our midfield and have some bollocks and put in some proper tackles in there and be a strong bloke and a kind of player that no one wants to mess about with. And that's exactly what Granit Xhaka is. And we want to see him sat. For me, I want to see him sat deep in front of the back four, give him the ball as often as you can, get the keeper playing it out to Xhaka, get the centre-backs playing it into Xhaka, let him be the creative player. But he's also got that nasty streak and that strength, and it's his first season in the Premier League, and it's easy to forget that. And also, like Cookie said with Aaron Ramsey, Xhaka hasn't had a balanced partner for the whole season. He's played alongside Cazorla, he's played alongside Coquelin, he's played alongside El Neni, he's played alongside Ramsey. How is that guy ever gonna see the best of any of our players if we continue to chop and change so often? And I think Ramsey's a perfect partner for Xhaka, and I think Jack Wilshere should come back and he'd be a fantastic partner for Xhaka. And I even think Oxlade-Chamberlain's thrown his name in the hat from his recent performances to be a partner for Granit Xhaka. And I just think Granit Xhaka has to be the mainstay. But I think that if it ain't Arsenal next season, whoever our manager is needs to choose a complete partner for Granit Xhaka and a way of playing and build the side around him picking the ball up deep and playing it forward. But his tackle, I've got no issues with his tackling. Everyone moans about I'm happy with it. I don't care if he gets booked every game as long as he's doing his job. And it's nice to know that if the opposition get the ball, they know that they're going to be under pressure from a big tackle coming in, because 9 times out of 10 when you play against Arsenal, that don't happen. And Xhaka's a top boy for me, and he's only going to improve. And I watched a bit of him for Gladbach. You see him for Switzerland. He's a leader. He's growing every season, and next year now he's got used to the pace of the game. If we can provide him with a balanced partner, like I say, we're going to see a very, very, very good central midfield player for Arsenal. And I don't like it when Wenger has him running up and down the pitch. I don't think that's his game. I think he's far, far better suited to being a deep line playmaker who likes to put a foot in, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if any of you saw it, but there's a lot of reports today talking about Ancelotti and Bayern Munich looking at him, considering Xabi Alonso's on his way out into the season. And I was just like, well, he's splitting fan opinion, isn't he? And I'm just like, if he looks at it and thinks, well, do you know what, I've given it a go, I might go back to Germany. I'm like, you can see the talents there. I mean, if Bayern Munich are looking at him as a replacement for Xabi Alonso, he's got to be some kind of player. You don't just get a nobody to chuck into that role.
Mate, if everyone goes that have been linked away, I don't think we'll have 11 men. I think us three will have to turn up with our boots next season at this rate. Find a new manager.
I can't run like I used to anymore.
You could be our new Giroud, mate.
Oh, thank you, man. And James, what did you think of Xhaka, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think Granit Xhaka really divides opinion at times, similar to Aaron Ramsey. But again, it's the same problem. And as was mentioned, he hasn't got a defined midfield around him in which plays to his strengths. I'd love to see Granit Xhaka performing at the level we've seen him play at for Mönchengladbach, at the level he played for Switzerland in the Euros. I thought he was exceptional. Got so many man of the matches for the Swiss. He had some fantastic performances out in the Euros. But for me, he's had a couple of really good performances, and he's a very sturdy player. I thought he evidenced that in that game yesterday. He's very, very much blends in at times. He doesn't really do anything to overly impress, but what he does do, he does it very well, very efficiently, and he is capable of pinging the ball about 30, 40 yards and starting something very exciting in terms of an attack. So yeah, he's a player that I really like, and for me, him playing in that midfield three with Ramsey and whether it be Chamberlain or Ozil, I think that midfield pivot free for me now with Ramsey, Xhaka and Ozil, which I think we'll see now that Chamberlain's picked up that hamstring knock. I think that could be a very exciting midfield for us for the rest of this season. Of course, it's all dependent on whether Mesut Ozil stays with the club, but exciting player for me. I want to see him play more consistently. I hope he doesn't get too many more bookings. As was mentioned, I don't mind him getting the odd booking, but for me, if he picks up too many, that'll put him on the side of caution for me. But yeah, good game yesterday. Definitely didn't deserve a yellow card. I think he was taken off just as a precaution, just in case he did pick up a second. And I definitely buy into the idea that the referee was on the side of Lincoln. I think that might be a bit stupid to say, but for me, the amount of decisions he was giving their way throughout the course of the game, and it was the exact same thing as Sutton, really. They put in some really horrible tackles on us, and yeah, they're a non-league side, but we're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We've got to treat it as a serious and professional competition. I don't think the referee did that at all yesterday. I thought it was absolutely horrendous. But at the end of the day, our talents come through. Granit Xhaka has been a pivotal part of that, and we've won the game 5-0.
Yeah, totally agree. Mesut Ozil yesterday, guys. I thought when he come on, I thought he looked quite good. I thought he looked really well out there. Obviously, Oxlade-Chamberlain's injury's bad. I think the last few weeks next to Sanchez, he's probably been arguably our best player out there. But best thing for me yesterday with Ozil was we keep getting told a lot that he's a bit of a wimp, a bit of a weed, and I loved him knocking that bloke to the floor. I thought that's absolutely brilliant. I was like, that's the most. They talk about world class passes, and I'm like, that's a world class shove on somebody. I was chuffed with that.
It was funny, wasn't it?
I was so happy. I literally was like, go on, smack him. Like,
I don't think the ref even realised what had happened. That's why he just played on. I don't think the ref could believe what he had just seen. But yeah, if they're going to come out and talk to say they're going to smash Sanchez, we'll send Mesut Ozil in there to get dirty, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Mesut, the geezer for me is an absolute magician, and I say it to loads of my mates who don't have the privilege of going to games or they support other clubs. They just don't understand, as the song says, and the bloke is unbelievable to watch live in the flesh. When you can actually sit there and appreciate his movement, his appreciation of space, his timing of pass, his intelligence, his simplicity, the man he's a footballing magician, and we've really not helped him this season. And I'm sure everyone by now has seen that statistic that he's run over 15 kilometres in pretty much every game he's played this season, and outrun Alexis Sanchez in every game he's played this season. And the man gets nowhere near enough credit for what he's trying to do. But I think we're killing him. And for me, with Mesut, I don't want to see him covering 15 kilometres a game. I want to see him have the team built around him, have Aaron Ramsey running off him, have wingers running on behind, have our centre forward creating space and making movements. And so often we see Mesut Ozil picking up the ball in wide areas because it's the only area he can find space. But I just think if you can stretch the game and leave him picking up the pockets of space in between the lines in front of the opposition penalty area, when you've got Ramsey running beyond him and you've got a centre forward to play off of, and you've got wingers who are making runs in behind, Mesut will find them, because on the ball, he's a genius. Off the ball, he's even better. And for me, that is the best part of his game, off the ball, because it's incredible. It really, really frustrates me when I see people slating him, that saying he's lazy and things like that. What he doesn't do is waste unnecessary energy. He doesn't do short, sharp bursts into nowhere for no reason. He will wait. Then when he sees the space, he will get into the space, and he's constantly on the move. And it's almost like, if you watch him, you can hear his brain from the stand. That's what it feels like to me. I can hear it. The cog's working, and I can see what he's gonna try and do. And mate, the bloke's a magician, and I just love him. And it's gutting to see the amount of stick he's been getting of recent weeks, because again, he's another player that has suffered massively from Arsene Wenger's lack of tactical input, and to be honest, it's been shambolic the way we've seen these top players really begin to look like pub players at times, and I'd do anything to keep Mesut Ozil at this club, and I honestly do believe that he might well stay. I really do think he could stay. I think he loves London, and I think he's getting to that stage of his career now where he's got one more big contract, and I do hope that he's with Arsenal Football Club, and I'd pay him whatever he wants. And I just think that if we've got a new manager coming in the summer, Mesut Ozil will absolutely thrive. And if we build the team around him like I want to, then and we have that settled midfield three that Cookie talked about, Xhaka, Ramsey, Ozil, I think we could be seeing the Mesut that we all know is in there on the ball come back, because off the ball he's still working just as hard. He's doing everything he can. He's such a team player, which he gets no credit for. Everything Mesut Ozil does is for the team. It's not for himself. He's not the glory man. All he wants to do is keep the ball moving, get into the areas, create the space, create the chances, and happy days. And I love the man. I really do love the man. And I could speak about him for months, but I'm sure Cookie loves him. And well, I'd just be gutted if he left. Even more gutted than Alexis. I think I'd cry my eyes out for a few weeks if we lost Mesut, because he's my kind of footballer, and if I could be anyone in the world, that's who I'd be on the pitch, because his brain is just incredible.
Yeah. Cookie, yourself?
Yeah, Ozil's had a very hot and cold career with Arsenal. He's again another player, like so many of our employees, that have divided opinion in recent years. But I think this season especially, the way he had adapted his game when we were playing against the likes of Chelsea and Watford at the start of the season, and we started to really see the fruits of his labours in terms of him getting goals. I think that was the Mesut Ozil that really excited me. And the sad part for me this season is that we haven't really kept up that really exciting trio, front four we had really, when we had Iwobi, Ozil, Alexis and Theo Walcott, because for me that was so exciting, and the way that's kind of fallen apart in terms of Iwobi going off form, individual players having specific injuries, that sort of fell apart, and now he's playing behind Olivier Giroud again. But for me, we'll see the best of Ozil when he's playing in a very fluid attack. So if we'd have started that game with maybe Ozil instead of Oxlade-Chamberlain and then had Lucas Perez up top, as I mentioned at the start of the pod, that would have worked to his favour that bit more. But if we get another striker in, maybe in the summer, how likely that is, I don't know. I think we'll really start to see Mesut Ozil start to play consistent football. I think he's a very hard worker for the team. I think he plays some exceptional football at times. At times, he does frustrate me a little bit. You want to see him dig in that bit more. But I think it's just that in terms of, like, with so much of the rest of the squad, it's all about getting consistency within the team, not just in terms of performances, but in terms of knowing each other's games. And again, another player that has been hard done by in terms of everything around him is constantly changing. He's playing behind Alexis one week, playing behind Giroud another, playing behind Walcott another, playing behind Perez another. I mean, it's always chop and change from Mesut Ozil, and I do feel a bit hard for him. He definitely doesn't have the servicemen around him that he had at Real Madrid, and obviously we can't keep bringing that up, but I think he does need to be helped by the players around him, and I think what we want is not to waste this guy anymore, because again, in the mould of Alexis Sanchez, he's a player that in terms of his game is incredibly different, but again, he's a player that is worthy of winning a league title.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's one of the top players in the world, isn't he? So if we can keep him as well, like I said earlier, I think Sanchez will go, but I believe Ozil will probably stay. I think Ozil knows where his bread's buttered, and I think, like you said, he'll get that one last big payday. I think he'll be happy with it. Yeah,
mate. Yeah, fingers crossed we do keep him. And we're at a situation where the club's in limbo again, and we don't know what's going to happen. We're out of the Champions League, we're out of the League Cup, the league title's gone, and we got an absolutely huge 2 games in the FA Cup, and our record against big teams, let's face it, is shite. So it's going to be difficult, and we got to go to Wembley, and really that is all we've got. And top 4, is it imperative? It's very, very important, but look, I don't think it'd be the complete end of the world. We've seen many teams drop out of the top 4, not have Champions League football, and go on and win the title. So it does happen, and you only have to look at Chelsea with a change of management and the fresh ideas. They've they went from 10th to 1st again. And we all want to keep these big players. And for me, if they do leave, we've just got to make sure we replace them. And unfortunately, I do. Although I said I think we could replace Alexis, I'm not so sure with Mesut. There's not another player of his quality, of his type in the world, I don't think. And Isco's a very good player and people like that. But for me, Mesut's a magician. I just want to keep him, mate.
Yeah. Who would you like in the next round? In the semis, who do you want? If you could ideally pick.
I don't know. I mean, we seem to. Well, I would say we seem to do better against City, but we were absolutely atrocious against them this season. So, look, it's a one-off tie. At the end of the day, anything can happen, can't it, in the FA Cup? And as long as we're up for it, I mean, Spurs would be a dream, wouldn't it? It'd be an unbelievable day. Everyone will be pulling their hair out, and it would be difficult. But what a nice way to get to the final by smashing the scum from down the road. But yeah, I'm just glad we're there and we got a chance to go Wembley, and I hope we get the Green Man pub and that side of the stadium, because it's always a great day and a great occasion. And I'm not a massive fan of having the semi-final at Wembley, but hey ho, we're going there, and yeah, I mean, whoever we get, it's going to be difficult. I just hope we turn up on a day and don't shy away and perform like we have done in big games of late. Yeah.
And James, who would you like if you could pick?
Sorry, mate. What was the question again?
In the semi-final, mate, who would you like?
Oh, sorry, mate. I was in a world of my own there.
That's all right.
I heard mention Spurs, and I just started having these really horrible visions of us going out in the cup final to him, which would just make me want to commit, really. But yeah, no, I don't know. There's so many good teams left in it. Who is left in it? We've got Chelsea,
United, Chelsea, City, and Spurs.
Oh God. I wouldn't want United. Definitely wouldn't want Chelsea. See how that one goes tomorrow. I'd probably say City, because we do tend to play well against them, but as was mentioned, yeah, we've been awful against them this season. But I think it'll play into our hands in a way that they play similar football to us, in terms of Guardiola is kind of a younger version of Arsene Wenger. I think it'd be a very beautiful game of football to watch at Wembley. We tend to play very well at Wembley, so I'd probably opt for City. But then that leaves us with a potential chance of getting Spurs in the final, which would be, oh God, if we lost that'd be horrendous. But it's a difficult one. We've never really been in this situation before where there's so many good teams left in it at this stage. But I think it is credit to the Premier League in a way to show that these teams are starting to really, as much as I hate Spurs, these teams are starting to build up more of a structure. They're starting to look a lot stronger, and the Premier League is getting a bit more, well, it's always been competitive, but it's getting a lot more serious at the business end of it. So yeah, I'd go for City.
Yeah, I think we're going to get Chelsea personally, boys, and I think after we beat Chelsea, we'll get Spurs in the final and we'll beat them.
Yeah, mate, I love that optimism.
I don't want Man United, because for the point of the reason is I think the nails are sort of already in the coffin for Wenger. But if Jose Mourinho was the one to put the final nail in, he'd be wanking off for weeks over that. And you would shut him up. That'd be his crowning achievement. He'd probably take that higher than winning the Champions Leagues at Porto and Inter Milan.
He's a horrible bastard.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's what his dreams are made of. His wet dreams even. Yeah. But is there anything? West Brom next. Was there anything else you guys wanted to chime in with before we go into that, or?
No, I think we've covered it, mate. Really. Just like to say, ending the Lincoln game, I'd just like to say a massive congratulations to Lincoln City Football Club and all their staff and their fans and their players. They were a credit to the National League and non-league football, and they were a credit to themselves. And I got down there quite early. I had to go to the box office and pick up a ticket, and as I got out of Holloway Road walking round, and I was with loads and loads of Lincoln fans, and just the faces on the young kids from every age, actually, young kids right up to pensioners. You could just see that when they walk round the corner and see the Emirates there, like the size of it, and even me as an Arsenal fan who goes there all the time, I still like walking around the corner and I look up and I see it and I think, cool, it's a nice place to watch your football, and what a dream for them. And to be honest with you, will it happen again in our lifetime? See a non-league team get to the quarter-final of the FA Cup and face a big boy away from home? That's stuff of dreams. And all their players to a man and all their fans, I hope they had an absolutely fantastic day. And as Cookie said, they were still singing at 5-0 down, as you would be. they had a great time, and I personally stayed well after the whistle and clapped every single one of their players off the pitch to a man, and they deserved their day. They earned their day. They beat Burnley away, which is an incredible achievement, and fair play to them. So that's all I wanted to say. Congratulations to Lincoln.
Yeah, and their manager at the end as well. He come over and spoke to a few Arsenal fans for quite a while. They showed that on the telly. He was talking to them for a long time. So fair play to them. I thought they gave a good account of themselves with the fans and the manager and everything. Very humble as well. Very decent. Next game, West Brom. Will you be there, mate?
Yeah, for all my sins. I keep telling myself I'm going to stop going, and I find.
Well, I haven't got a ticket, but I might have a plane seat, so keep an eye out for me, mate.
You're a pilot, mate, are you?
Yeah, I wish. What do you guys think of this one? Do you think it's going to be quite routine, or are you a bit worried about this one?
I don't know. It depends how that plane thing goes, really. I think that could really set the tone for the game if that goes over in the first 5 minutes. But I'm not looking forward to it, to be fair. I don't really like coming up against Tony Pulis' size, but we do have a fairly good record against him. In fact, a very good record. The Hawthorns, West Brom have actually been really, really, really good there this season, so I'm expecting a difficult game. Very well regimented side, got dangerous players up top, Chadley, Rondon, that other guy as well, their number 7, forgot his name, but he's really good. Yeah, Phillips, he's been class for them this season. It's going to be a difficult game, but I'm hoping we just continue playing this exciting sort of football we've seen in the past couple of games against that first half against Bayern and the game yesterday. Keep that midfield free going, Xhaka, Ramsey, Ozil, same defence. Then up top, maybe I would look to change up personally and go for Perez, Alexis, Walcott. He definitely won't do that in my opinion. But if Welbeck's fit, maybe see him come back in. Maybe this would be a good game for Iwobi to come back in. Not too sure about that one. But all rounds, it's if we keep playing this exciting football, then it does pay me to say, in a way, let's end this season on a high, because I'm just playing into that repetitive cycle that we see season after season. But all I want is to see Arsenal play well, and if that means entering the consistency that we see every year, then so be it. I just want to have something to cheer about, something to smile about, and the longer this frustration goes on, then I think the longer us fans will be unhappy.
Yeah, and was
difficult game, mate. As Cookie said, they've been quite good at home this season. I think only 4 teams have took points off them there, and they were Tottenham, City, and United got results there. But yeah, Tony Pulis' team, he's going to know what to do. He's going to know how to set up. He knows how to push the buttons. They're going to get stuck in. They're going to be fast, aggressive, and let's just hope we turn up, because we often struggle at the Hawthorns, and we ain't really put in a good performance there for a while. And it's just a tough place to go, and I'm worried. I'm worried about everything. To be fair, I was worried about Lincoln. That's the situation.
I was exactly the same, mate.
Yeah, mate. The confidence is at an all-time low, and you sort of get that feeling from on the pitch as well as in the away end. And recent weeks, especially the last couple of months, the fans in the away end haven't been their same jovial selves, and the atmosphere has been a bit dull, and the atmosphere around the club and the attitude in the fan base is really, really frustrating at the moment. I just hope that we do turn up, because if we do, we know we'll win the game. It's simple as that. But again, Wenger's got options, and he has to make the right choices, and he has to get the team right. And I just hope he doesn't chop and change too much. And like Cookie said, with Ox out, hopefully he ain't out for too long. But it'd be nice to see, for me, Xhaka, Ramsey, Ozil, and then take your pick whether you want to start Giroud, or I don't know if Welbeck will be back. He was only ill when he Welbs? Was he ill? Yeah. So hopefully he's back fit, and he's an option. And it seems to me like Lucas Perez is never going to get a start. I don't know what he's done but it ain't happening. So you can pretty much write that one off. But I'd like to see a front three of probably Welbs, Sanchez, Walcott, or if you are going to go with Giroud, stick with Sanchez, Giroud, Walcott again, and try and get a similar team out and get a bit of a run going. Because while we got players fit, it'd be nice to see an unchanged 11 for a while, if we can do it, and make the right subs in games. But you and I both know that won't happen, and then there'll be some absolutely ludicrous team, and there'll be some strange reason. But we just need to get points on the board, because we've got a lot of tough games going up, and if we do have aspirations of finishing the top 4, games like this are must-wins, and it's vital, not just for points, but to get a run going and get a good run of results going, because as I say, it's all a bit up in the air at the club at the moment, and 3 points at the weekend will certainly help before we go into this run of very, very difficult fixtures.
Yeah, exactly. No, well said. Well, I want to thank you, Woz, for coming on. Cheers for that, mate.
Nah, top man. Thank you very much for having me on, mate.
No worries. I want to say thank you to you as well, James.
No worries, JJ. I've had a great time chatting with you lads tonight.
Yeah, and just as per usual, just follow us on the old Twitter. Keep an eye out on the iTunes. Give it a like on the YouTube. Share it out if you want as well. Check out James's documentary as well on his channel. Very well done. It had Woz, Mark and Akil in as well for the pod. So just keep your eyes on everything we're doing, really. And we'll be back soon. And enjoy. Take care.
This podcast is sponsored by
Odds Monkey, where every bet's a winner. Join thousands of football fans across the UK and earn an average of £700 month after month. Visit www.oddsmonkey.com and use offer code HENRI to have a go yourself for just £1.